what we're talking about, you saw on the presentation picture, and also, which was not right, that was not me, but I don't know where Jeanette, I think, got to, someone sent the wrong one. But what we are here, 5 to survive. What do you have? What it takes? And what we're going to be doing today is talking about and what it really takes to make it in this market. I don't know how many of you guys in here are new traders. I would like to start by, if you've been trading under 5 years, would you just put a yes in there or no? And if you've, or just type in how many years you've been trading. The reason is because a lot of what I'm doing today is going to be trying to lay some groundwork for what I'm going to be doing at the end of October. 16 years. 1 year, yes, okay. Okay, guys. 20, okay. 20, 40 years. Oh, we got me beat, Kevin. I think it's Kevin. Yeah, Kevin. No, 7 years, 5 years. 16 years, Isaac. Okay. Now, question. How long have you been, is that trading futures, or is it just equities? That's another question. Okay. Both, mainly Forex. Okay. All right. All right. And the reason I'm asking all this, no futures at all, okay, what I'm wanting to do is to cover some groundwork in some markets that a lot of people aren't trading. So, do you have what it takes? 5 to survive, and it will explain a little bit about what it takes to survive in just a minute. And of course, you'll probably see it in everything today. The warning about trading futures and options trading, equities trading, it has a large potential risk. You have to be aware of the risk and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the futures. Now, past performance on anything I'm showing you here, any trading system or methodology is not indicative of future results. In other words, just because I'm showing you something in here doesn't mean it's going to, you can replicate it exactly every time. No representations being made that any account will achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed here. So, in other words, summarize it quickly, trading is risky. Now, this is what you'll get. If you looked at the picture of me to start with, this is the bull and the bear. Guess which one I am. I'm the owner of TradeTheSystem.com, and I have been trading for 35 years. I started in 1981, and I started as an institutional grain trader. And what does that mean, institutional grain trader? What I did, I had the opportunity to see other people trade that were hedging in the market. I had the opportunity to not ease in the market, but I just pretty much jumped in head first and started back in 1981. And at that time, there were no computer trading. Basically, there were very few computers. That if anybody had a personal computer, it certainly didn't have any software on it, nothing of that nature. And over this 35 years of trading, I've seen a lot happen, as I'll touch on as we go through all of this. Institutional grain trader. I traded for large elevators, for end users, for large farm corporations, things of that nature. And that's what I did. That's how I got started in the business. And I did that. Traded with a small company out of Missouri called Clayton Brokerage Company. Went to E.F. Hutton for about a couple of months. Didn't like it, left, and ended up going to Dean Witter Rentals for a number of years. And got tired of the corporate stuff and went out on my own. Now, you can imagine what it's like if you're working in a large corporation, which Dean Witter was at the time, had a lot of their backing, and you decide to pull the plug and go out on your own. At that point in time, you better have a pretty good idea of what you're wanting to do. And when I went out on my own, still continued to trade the institutional side, and then eventually I dropped all of that and decided just to trade for myself. And about 10 years ago, you just heard Hubert Centers. It's probably been 10 or 12 years ago, back when Hubert was doing Trade the Markets. I also was a moderator in the trading room at Trade the Markets, and with Hubert. So I've been around for a long time, especially doing the webinars, doing the moderating of the live trading room, and actually trading live for, showing people trades through that time. Also, managed business from 16 years old. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. My dad owned service stations, and back in the days when there was a service station, and he had several of them. At one time we had 4 of them at one time, and as I got older, he said one of the best things for me to learn. I don't know if you guys have you ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I pretty much learned from kind of like the Rich Dad, from it's pretty interesting if you want to run a business different ways. It just uses common sense, and this is a guy who didn't come up through education and going to business school and all this. This was a guy who ran a business and was very successful at it, and my dad was that way. So he figured the best way to teach me, one of the best educations I could get, was running one of the service stations. So it's 16 years old after I finished playing sports, and I played a bunch of them. My job, sports didn't supersede everything. I still had my job, and I had to go make sure that business was closed at night. Had to make sure that things were running right, and he allowed me to do that, but he also allowed me to fail. And that's something important I think that everybody needs to do, is understand that when you have problems, he wasn't there looking over my shoulders. When I had a problem, he let me handle it, and he would let me, if I succeeded, fine. If I didn't, fine. But it was a learning experience, and he was watching. After I realized over the years, he was watching over me pretty close. He just didn't hand me the keys and say, "Oh, go do it." At 16 years old, he handed me the keys and said, "Help the family," and that's what I did. Also, you see here that I raised cows, hogs, and kids. We also had a farm that's kind of how I got started in the agricultural side of the business. Is we had a farm. I live in Tennessee, and this farm was down in Mississippi, and so I also had the opportunity to be a farmer, be a cattleman, and also raise hogs, and that was something that Dad also taught me, learning through experience. And then there's the kids aspect of it all. I've got grown kids. I've got 3 of them. I've got now 1 and 7/8 grandkids. 7/8. We've got one that will be a granddaughter that will be here in just a couple of weeks, and that's what I've done over the years. We've got my wife and I. We raise the kids, and this is something that's important, guys, and something I want to give you some hope in. as the kids were growing up, we decided the educational process that we would homeschool the kids. And I say most of we, it's kind of like my wife when she says, we need to paint the bedroom, or we need to go outside and do some work. You know, the we means me. And for her, it was the we, it was her. She did the biggest majority of the education on it. But because I was a professional trader and had the ability to travel and also trade when the kids were growing up, trade off a computer, I could go anywhere. So with us homeschooling, it gave us the freedom to travel all over everywhere. And we did. We had a great education for the kids in terms of learning things about the United States and some foreign countries. I would go down, we would take vacations down at the beach down in Alabama, in Florida, and go down there and stay for a month and enjoy that. And there's something else I'll be mentioning in here in a few minutes about the importance of vacations and things of that nature. And by doing that, it gave me the freedom, trading gave me the freedom to do all these things. And Zags Basketball. How many of you out there have heard of Gonzaga in Spokane, Washington? Any basketball fans out there? Let's see if we got a few of you guys out there. Okay, I heard of St. Mary's. Yep, that's Gonzaga's big thing. Gonzaga is a small school up in the main rival for Gonzaga. And if you watch NCAA basketball, you'd see Gonzaga, and they're a very good program. A couple of years ago, they were #1 in the country. Just so happened to be my son played basketball at Gonzaga, and he was there of that team that went to the NCAA tournament. They were ranked one of the top 4 teams in the tournament, and we had a really great run. They were ranked #1 in the country. My son played ball for them. He's now playing professional basketball overseas, and in Romania, of all places, this year, he's playing basketball. He's played in Japan, in the Czech Republic, and this year in Romania. And I also do a lot of hunting and fishing, or I try to do some hunting and fishing. Now that the kids are gone, I've started back doing that, and that's a little bit about myself. And now the most important thing is this. Think of all of these things in the experience that I've had and what's happened. Trading has given me the freedom to do the things that I've really enjoyed doing. I've told a lot of people over the years, you're in Romania, Gene. You're from Romania. My son's playing in Mureș, Targu Mureș, in the middle of the country. And trading's allowed me to do a lot of different things. And big thing is to enjoy kids while we had them here at home, travel with them, do those things, not wait till I'm 65, 70 years old and say, okay, I want to go, do you live in Spokane, Washington? No, in Memphis, Tennessee. And it's allowed me to do all these things. Now, let's get started. That's plenty about me. Now, do you have what it takes? Let me ask you this question. What made Michael Phelps great? Think about that just a minute. What made Warren Buffett the world's premier investor? You mentioned Warren Buffett, and people go, "Oh man, can you answer this question? Answer yes or no. Was it a natural gift that they were born with?" No. No. Passion, dedication? No. Yes, no. Yes, no. All right. Okay. And I'll also kind of refer back to my son in this too. Matter of fact, my son, if Michael Phelps shaved his head again and you saw that picture, my son looks like him in a lot of ways. My son's 6'7", he's a shooting guard, and he's got about as much fat as Michael Phelps has on him too. So how are certain people able to go on improving when they supposedly are at the top of what they do? Lewis says proper training, passion, dedication. Yes, you've got to have all those things. So as you look at this and about, do you have what it takes? What's Michael Phelps' training schedule? Here's a pretty good answer to this. Michael Phelps' training schedule, this was in 2012 that I was able to find. It's about 6 hours of swimming per day, 6 days a week. He also lifts weights for an hour. That puts him up to 7, and stretches for an hour 3 days a week. And I understand what the stretching stuff is now. My son plays professional ball where he's playing every day. Now, Phelps swims an average of 8 miles a day. You know, it would be tough just to get out and walk 8 miles a day, every day. Think he swims 8 miles a day during his 6 hours of swimming. Begins training at 6:30 a.m. and then his sets when swimming are between 50 and 800 meters. Time sets, 200-meter sets where he's getting timed, and they all have to be done under 3 minutes. He practices all these different strokes that he does, the backstroke, butterfly, freestyle, medley. He does all those things. Now, my son is, like I said, he's a shooting guard. He got home back from the Czech Republic this year, and then he took a week off and he hit the gym. Now, when you do this, when you're doing something like Michael Phelps, if you're an elite athlete, it requires an enormous amount of work. And they spend, how my son does it, I don't know. How Michael Phelps does it, I don't know. It's got to be passion. You don't understand it unless you have that passion for the same thing. My son doesn't understand how I can sit down in front of a computer screen and watch the markets all day long and then work on them at night also. It's a similar type passion. Now, let me ask you this as we go forward, and this is getting down to the root of what I want to do with you guys. Question: what is your training schedule? Now, I'm hoping that I'll knock some cobwebs loose for some of you guys who have been in here and been trading for maybe 20, 30, 40 years. For 1 year, if you're setting things up, what are you doing in here in terms of bettering yourself? When my son goes to the gym, or when, as we were using Michael Phelps, when he goes to the pool, does he just jump in and swim around for a whole bunch of 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 hours? No, he's got a schedule. He knows what he's doing. That's why I put this up here. He swims between 50 and 800 meters. Certain sets are timed. He goes to the gym. He will shoot. He'll shoot 500 shots a day minimum, and he's got certain shots that he'll work on. If he's trying to do something new, when it comes to dribbling, when it comes to defense, when it comes to footwork, all those things, he goes to the gym and he works very diligent with that. You look at my son. If you looked at him in high school and things, you'd have thought, this kid, he's going to be a pretty decent high school basketball player because he had some size to him. But then the further along you go, size becomes, there's a lot of people out there that are similar size, but were they shooters? Did they spend the time learning to do that? Same thing with you guys. There's a lot of people out here that are trading who are spending time to get better. Now, this is what I want to ask you here, off of what's your training schedule. Do you have a deliberate practice? What have you designed specifically to improve your performance? With what you're doing, can it be repeated over and over and over again? Do you have a method that tracks results? That's the key thing to do. When my son goes to the gym, he keeps track of what his percentage shooting was. When you look at professional stats and even college stats today in basketball, you'd be surprised. They've got ways of breaking it down where if you were going to the left and took a shot, what your percentage was. If you had a set shot, basically, if you were standing still, caught the ball and shot it, what your percentage of shooting there. If you were dribbling to the right and shot from the right side of the floor, what was your percentage from there? What was your percentage from 22 feet? What was your percentage from 15 feet? All of those things, they were tracking results. Now, do you track your trading? I think that's one of the many key things that you've got to do. And again, 5 to survive. That's 5 things that you've got to really work on, and we'll cover those. We'll touch on those 5 things in just a minute. Now, the practice is going to require focus and concentration. Now, it's like a doctor. A doctor, he's got a practice. He sets up a practice. For you as a trader, set up a practice. If you're doing this as a business, run it as a business. You've got employees to hire and fire. Now, but you may not have anybody working employees. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. And let me, give me just a second. Now, let me see if I can move this over and see if it's showing. Okay. Here's live trading right here, what I've got going on. Now, you see the indicators that I have on this chart. Each one of these indicators, I've got a power band in here, this red dotted line. I've got an indicator here that I'm working on that I've used, introducing it to my trading, that gives me opportunities to come in here and know when volume is entering and exiting the market. Also, I use a MACD. Now, if I can, and here's a power line right here, this yellow line. Now, on all of these are considered by me to be employees. Are they doing their job? Well, I can show you this morning that off my power band, the market, the sell-off that we got here this morning, which we are up 116 points in the Dow right now, it did a great job. It gives me opportunities to jump in and out of the market. Now, right here up at the top, it's giving me another opportunity here. Would I want to be trading long or short? Right now, I'd want to be trading on the long side of the market because of the setups that we'll see. Now, off of this, I also use internal indicators in here in the market. I want to make sure, are they doing their job? Do they keep me on the right side of the market? And this is for equities. Now, I also do the same thing in the grain markets. I look at the grains. I watch the grains very closely. Right now, we're down 5 cents on the day in the soybeans. November soybeans down 5 1/4. And I'm also watching the soybean oil. It's down 30 points on the day. And just looking to see what's going on here. And why am I looking at these things? And I'll show you. Oh, that's not it. And let me show you. because I've got a trade on in soybeans right now, only one contract, and I'm looking to add more to it, but the time to add to it is not right now, according to all of my work. Now, I do have on a couple of contracts of soybean oil also right now, and this is today's trading, $354 and $237 that I'm working on right there off of those two trades. Why? Because there's some seasonal trades in here that look really good for these two contracts on the short side. Is it going to work? I don't know, but I've got a pretty high probability that it will work, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in some of these contracts later on through all of this. Now, let me get back to over here. Now, off of that, you know, are you tracking results? I track results off of all the things. Do you watch the US dollar? Yes, I do. What platform are you using? Do you have a preference and why? I'll share that with you in just a few minutes, Tim, but that's a really good question. And guys, stick with me. I want to give you something in here today that I think will save you some money. And I'm not doing it just because I use it. There's a couple of things I want to share with you that I think will save you some money. Because if you're going to attend a webinar, I want you to get something of value out of this. And also something that you can apply to your trading right away. Let me ask you this question. What platforms are you guys using? Thinkorswim, TradeStation, Ninja? Put in here and let me know. That way I'll get some idea on what we're dealing with. Ninja, Toss, Infinity, Ninja, Interactive Brokers, Ninja, NT, Toss, Ninja Options Express, NT8, TradeStation, Toss. Okay, big majority of these are Thinkorswim. I'd say the biggest percentage of you guys who are answering are Thinkorswim users. And I will share, I don't have Thinkorswim running, but I'll be able to share some things that Thinkorswim does. Ninja. Plus, you know, guys, I'm going to, and I'll throw this out now. I'm going to offer a free trial, not a free trial, I'm going to offer a trial to tradethesystem.com, and it's $7 for 30 days. There's a guy, if you use Thinkorswim, there's a guy that's in our trading room that I have not seen anyone that is proficient of setting things up with Thinkorswim in the years that I've been using Thinkorswim. He is really, really good, and he shared some things in here with me, and I'm pretty sure he'd allow me to share that with you guys too if you come in off of the $7 trial, and we would be able to cover those. But this guy is, if there's a guru to Thinkorswim out in the market, this guy knows how to do it. I learned more the first day he started showing me some of the stuff than I've learned in a couple of years. So that's something that I think that you all, if you use Thinkorswim, would really appreciate. Now, back to this, deliberate practice. This is not a mindless activity. It's going to be hard. It's going to require self-regulation. You're going to have to set you some goals, but don't be a nutcase about setting goals. Self-observation. You know, this is going to be one of the tougher things that you do right here. And what is that going to be? Off of this, right here, being true to self. Boy, that's a bright color to use in drawing on a chart, isn't it? Let's change color. Being true to yourself. What does that mean? Well, guys, when you're trading, boy, and that's good, isn't it? I'm left-handed. I'm drawing right-handed with a mouse, so cut me some slack if it's ugly. Yeah. So what we're doing here, when you start looking at your trades, make sure that you're being honest with your observation of them. A lot of people want to put blame someplace else. You can't. If you're going to be a trader, it's all on your shoulders. And you guys who've been trading for a long period of time, you know that. Now, when you do this, it's real important to have some kind of a roadmap of what you're doing, having a set of standards. Self-evaluations, you can only know what you're attempting and how it turned out. Only you can know that. Have a standard. If you're going to trade a gap play in the morning, whether it's in the grains or the ES and the YM, or if it's in the currency markets or it's in equities, know what you're going to do it. You've got to be able to make an evaluation. Was this a good trade? Was this a bad trade? Whatever. Now, when you're going to have losing trades, let me just alert you to that. And it's not going to come as any surprise to anyone. It's okay to lose. The key is how you lose. When you lose, are you controlling what you lose? When you win, are you letting your winners run? And we'll discuss that a little bit longer and a little bit more in detail as we go. Main thing, guys, you have to believe it to achieve it. One of the things, there was a sports psychologist that my son, when he was playing ball, that he talked with, and sports psychologists do this. One of the big things, he had to convince my son, or he kept asking my son this question. Every little kid wants to grow up. If you were a golfer, a lot of them over the years wanted to grow up and be as good as Tiger Woods. Now it's Jordan Spieth. You know, Arnold Palmer, who just passed away. How many kids wanted to be like Arnold Palmer, play golf like Arnie? How many kids want to play basketball like LeBron James? Well, my son, when he was in the gym, he had already made one huge step. He was one of the best at his school in high school, and he got several offers to play basketball at college. He goes to college and he plays basketball. He made another giant step of being a college basketball player, NCAA Division I college basketball player. Another goal that he had, he wanted to play in the NCAA tournament. He also wanted to play professional basketball. Of course, when he made the list, he put down the NBA. Has he had opportunities? He has. But his opportunities, he did not get drafted, but he's had several workouts with teams, which is another step. Now, he plays professionally overseas, and he makes a whole lot more money playing overseas than he does in the D-League, which was, he had the opportunity to play in the developmental league with the Boston Celtics up in the Maine Red Hawks or something like that this year. The coach called him and wanted him to play, and he decided that he would rather play overseas because that's probably where he will end up the biggest majority of his career. So, but that doesn't mean that he stopped striving to try to play in the NBA. Now, what this sports psychologist had to do, he would ask him the question, Drew, who is the best shooter in the NCAA? Well, he would think, well, let me think. Well, there's so-and-so. And he would name off people. He said, Drew, is it not you? Well, he had to overcome that of thinking. He had to believe that he was one of the best shooters in NCAA to achieve it. It took him a while, but he finally reached it. Now, when his senior year at Gonzaga, in league play, he shot over 50% from three-point range. In the in the conference. For the year, he was like a 45% three-point shooter. He had to believe it. He was one of the leading percentage shooters in the NCAA tournament, and not in the tournament, in the year. He was one of the leading shooters. He still has to believe that when he's playing professional ball. How does that equate to you guys? You've got to believe that you can achieve professional status, that you would call yourself a professional trader, but you have to believe it first. Now, here's 5 of the things that I think are so important, the 5 things that you've got to do to achieve what you're wanting to do. You have to be patient. You aren't going to jump in here and become a professional trader and start turning out massive amounts of profit right off the bat. You've got to buy patience, and the way to do that is to be patient in the market, to get profitable, to give yourself longevity. As I tell people, you can buy patience when you're trading. It's called a stop in the market. That gives you longevity in the market. You've got to be patient when you're both getting open positions, closing positions. You've got to kind of do away with hope and fear, and you've got to turn around and just use a methodical method of training. When you put on a trade, of course you want it to work, but you've got, okay, I'm going to follow what I do. I know what I'm going to do. You've got to go in when you've got a losing position on and learn from it. You can't sit there and not use stops and hope that it turns around. You've got to be patient, and that's one of the most essential qualities when it comes to trading. You've got to wait for the right opportunity. You see some guys that just throw trades in left and right. I know, because for years I did institutional trading, and I saw people come in and they traded like crazy people. And they would blow through. I had people that would blow through $100,000 in months, in a couple of months, because they did stupid trades. When they had a winning trade, boy, they took it in a hurry and jumped out and patted themselves on the back. And then when they had a losing trade, they just kept piling it on. And they didn't have the patience to sit there and go, I need to learn this business. They just thought, hey, it's very easy to get into this business. The thing is you have the ability to survive through it. And that's why I call this 5 to survive. Now, you also have to acquire knowledge. And where are you going to get knowledge? Knowledge of what? Knowledge of the competition? Because believe me, you've got to know what you're up against when you trade. You've got to have a plan that's very well thought out. You have to research what your trading plan is, what you're going to trade, when you're going to trade, what's your best time to trade, how to trade. Are you going to be a long-term, short-term trader? Are you going to be a trend trader, a counter-trend trader? What's our personal goal? Personal goal for all of us is to make money. And it may not be possible every day. You may have to just sit on your hands. That's where the patient comes in. You've got to acquire the knowledge, and that's one thing. I've been doing this 35 years, guys, and I'm still buying books, and I'm still listening to webinars, trying to learn things. And one of the great things about being in a trading room, you get to pick the knowledge from guys that are in the trading room, ask them questions, and you're part of their trading room. You become friends with these people in there that you've never laid eyes on before. Now, the third thing that you've got to survive, you've got to have the guts and the nerve. You've got to have the heart to hang in there and develop these things. And you've got to do this, let's say, like I mentioned to you guys, let's get here. Off of this soybean trade. My desire, I want to pyramid this. I want to start adding positions on. I think that eventually we're going to be down at below $9 in soybeans. I want to add on at the right time, and that's, you've got to have guts to do it. Let's say you're getting I had a good day yesterday, and I want to go in here and see what's going to happen in here today. On the soybean oil, I want to end up with, and this is the account that I use for the live trading room. I've got other accounts also that I trade, but I usually trade 4 contracts on these at the max on each one, so I could have 4 soybeans and 4 soybean oil and other markets. So I want to add to this and have 4 contracts on this in this account. I want to build it. Now, it takes guts. A lot of people are going, take profits, take profits. Look at where you are right now, take profits. Well, I have a longer term objective on these trades, and I want to see them work and work well. And that's why you've got to have the guts to stick with it with some of these things. Also, you need to have the guts to cut a trade off when it's not working for you. You've got to have a defensive plan when the trade's going against you. You've got to do it. Well, another one is a system checklist. What's a system checklist? I think that's so important. I'm also a private pilot. And when I was learning to fly, do I have any pilots out there? When I was learning to fly, one of the important things that you just don't walk out on the tarmac and unlock the airplane, start it up, and fly off into the wild blue yonder. Rick's a pilot. Any other pilots? Rick would know that there is a pilot checklist that when you go out, you go through everything that there is on that airplane to make sure it's airworthy. You'll go in, you'll check tires, you'll check the engine, you'll check the oil, you'll check make sure that the fuel has no water in it. You'll make sure that you have fuel. The guy who goes out there and just jumps in a plane and takes off is usually the one that runs out of fuel, and you read about him in the obituaries. Well, you need your system checklist. And I encourage people to do it. Take an index card, write it down on there. If you've got a gap play, write down what your checklist is to take gap plays. If you're going to trade the opening hour, first hour breakout, how are you going to do it? What's the parameters of the trade? If you're going to trade a gap play in the corn and soybeans, let's say for instance, and they gap up 10 cents, are you going to play the gap back down to close the gap, or is it too big of a gap? What are the parameters? When the volume is running against you and you've got a losing trade on, at what level do you get out? When do you get out? How much are you going to risk on a trade? And then the fifth thing that you've got to have to survive, 5 to survive, is health and rest. I think it's very important, guys, to make sure that you stay healthy when you do this, and to get some exercise, and also to get rest in here. I know when I'm trading my best, I'm well rested. If I get up, and one of my rules that I've got, if I'm not feeling well, I don't trade. If I've got something going on in my life that is a distraction to me, I don't trade. If I've got something that, if I'm going to be meeting with people, or if I've got, say, a webinar to work on, I don't jump up in the morning and start trading and then do a webinar like this morning. The trades I've got on have been on for a few days, and I'm just watching them to see what they do. I didn't have to do anything, but I've got parameters set in on these trades where I know where I'll get out if they start going against me. and I'll be watching that. I'll be watching it very closely. And throughout the day, there will be gyrations, and that's where you just kind of have to make sure that you're doing things. Just because it gets back to a level and it gets close to stopping you out, you don't chicken out and just pull the plug. You get your setup and you go with it. Same thing, you've got to have your system checklist, and you've got to have your health and your rest. Now, next thing. Over the years, I've read a lot of books. I've read certain people, and it's always been interesting to me is W.D. Gann. Now, his trading method at Gann trading, I'm not, the Gann lines and all that, I'm not too much, but he had a lot of wisdom in the market when it comes to actual psychology of the market and the things that you've got, what you can learn from him. And Gann said this. He said, Gann could observe the mistakes made by his clients and learn from them. Now, how did he do that? He actually opened up, he had a trading firm, and he learned by the mistakes the clients were making. That's similar to what I had the opportunity to do. I was able to learn from people that as they made mistakes. Off of the mistakes that they made, I understood that they had problems in usually managing the trades. So when I was doing institutional grain trading, I had the opportunity to learn very quickly on what worked and what didn't work. Now, and I use this in Ecclesiastes. And this is something that I've harped on over and over again. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. In the trading room, I'm all the time telling people about patterns in the market, that they repeat themselves over and over and over again. Why? Because people trade very similar throughout the years. Like I said, I've been doing it for 35 years. I've seen seasonal trades repeat themselves over and over. And I'll show you a few seasonal trades in here that I think are going to be pretty good. Watch these seasonal trades to see what happens. What has been will be again. It'll happen. I can guarantee it. It's nothing new. What you're trying to do is learn the characteristics of the people that you're trading against and what they are going to do and how they're going to be acting. Now, how do we do that? Well, first of all, let me show you something in here that if I can get my chart over there to you. And I want to share something with you in here. This trade right here on the bond trade, I have a morning bond trade and a morning setup that I look to trade. This one was a very good example of a sell-off, a move back to the pivot, and then a big extended move to the downside. Yesterday, early in the day, off of the bond trade, I set it up for the room, and it went down exactly where it was, picked up about 12 points off of it, off of that move yesterday in the bonds. And it was one that we looked at. Now, I will look at opening ranges in the market every day. I look at these ranges to see what happens. Same thing, here's a soybean. My opening high, opening low, and where are we trading? We're trading right in it. Here's the previous close right here, the purple line, yesterday. I want to know where these things are, a previous low, a previous high. I want to do those things. And I will teach you in the trading room, if you guys go into the for the $7 trial, I'll discuss those things in it. Now, let me go on through of what we've got. And remember, patterns repeat themselves. It happens all the time. Now, what not to do? This is what losers do. Do any of you, Did y'all watch the Olympics this year? Did y'all watch the swimming? You see the guy in the green cap? That's a guy from South Africa. And he was just trying to psych Michael Phelps out. That's not a smart thing to do. Now notice their positions in this picture. And what's he doing? Why is Michael Phelps concerned about the guy to the right? Where is he? He's staring ahead. He's only got one destination in mind. This guy over to the right of Phelps, he's sitting there watching Phelps. And he was staring him down before this race. It will be something that will stay in my memory. He was trying to psych Phelps out. He would get in front of him. He would stretch. He danced. He was staring Phelps, and Phelps you go do something else, buddy. You aren't irritating me. I've swim to do, and I'm going to do the best I can do. That guy was trying to beat Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps was trying to finish ahead of everyone else. He wanted to set a time. He wanted to set another world record. Now, what do losers do? Losers lose more in losing positions than winning positions. And I've seen this over and over again. People let their losers run and take their profits quick. That's not what you do. Losers average losers. They get aggressive with losers. That losers average losers, pick that up from a note I saw behind Paul Tudor Jones' desk. What is that? You don't average down. Let's say if you get a loser in the soybean market and it moves against you 5 cents, don't add on. It goes another 5 cents against you, don't add on. It keeps going against you. Don't keep adding on thinking, I'm going to be right eventually. Eventually you're going to end up just blowing your account out. Don't have an obsession about reaching the goal also. Sometimes the goals aren't going to be able to be achieved. But what you want to do is at least be working toward a goal. Living the last losing trade. Then all of a sudden you begin to have self-doubt. That last trade you had on that was a loser, oh no man, look, I can't do this. I got to get it back. This is hard. You keep living in the past. No, you've got to go on and learn from a losing trade and just understand if you're following your setups, it just didn't work this time. That's what I try to get people to understand. It just, I lost money. It was a good trade. It just didn't work. How can a losing trade be good? Because it gave you an opportunity. You stuck to your plan. You stuck to your stops. It just didn't work this time. Next time, it'll work if you've done your homework and you're working with good setups. High risk. You're taking too many high risk plays. It's kind of like going to Las Vegas and watching people play cards or do whatever. You see the amateurs take really high risk trades, high risk chances in what they're doing. And you know that the odds are always on the casinos. Now, I don't gamble, but I've had to go out there many, many times with basketball and trade shows and different things of that. And I watch people. I like to observe people when they're doing this. Don't be a high-risk trader. And in the trading room and also in a webinar that I'll be doing, I'll be teaching a setup to show you how to take a $5,000 account and really build it. And also not living up to things that are your fault. Not admitting that it's your fault. That's another one. Now, what do the winners do? The winners do this. They focus. They let winning trades run. They trade in the present. They trade the now. They trade. They aren't looking at what's in the past. Going, oh man, I've got to put on a trade to get it back. No, you trade right now and one thing that my son learned from Shane Battier, who played for Duke and also played professional basketball for the Memphis Grizzlies. Shane, one of the things that Mike Krzyzewski taught him, next play. No matter you go down and you make a three-point shot, you miss a three-point shot, you do something, you get beat on defense, you don't concentrate on that. You concentrate on the next play. And for you guys, you concentrate on the next trade. That's important. Now, you also need to develop a methodology and a system where you can trade with an edge. And I'll show you some of the things that I use to trade with an edge. And you have to have a plan and follow it. You have to journal and review trades. That's what winners do. Those are the things that will set you up to be successful. Now, one of the key components, and I think it's the most key component that you've got to have when you are going to be a trader, is understanding knowledge of what you're up against, of who you're trading against. This is a picture of the old trading floor. This is when the trading floor was full, there was going on, the pit was moving. These guys had an edge. Why? Because they could see who was buying and who was selling in the market. All they had to do was look to see, and the guy sitting there screaming, buy, 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 sell, 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 whatever he was doing. They knew that. They had an edge. Volume was not reported to us. And then along came electronic Globex trading. Now, this is more what the pit resembles. The pit is basically just an empty shell, except for options trading and some spread trading and things of that nature. All of these people, the big majority, 95 to 99%, I'm not sure what the number is now, is all computer traded. So what do? You've got to learn. These guys who were trading back here had to make a change because there wasn't anybody left to trade with on the floor. So what happened? Along comes a Globex. This is, I believe, this is one thing that you need to master. The number one thing that you need to master is understanding volume. You need to be able to equate this movement right here, all of this, you need to be able to equate that to what this was in the pit, to this, to get a visual picture. When you see volume spike, you see all these guys jumping up and down, and they're yelling buy, 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 or sell, sell, sell. And then you've got to understand what direction it's going. How to trade volume, how to read volume, how to trade volume. I think that's the number one thing you need to do. Now, as I'm drawing to a close in here, guys, on October the 27th, at 6 p.m., I'm going to have a couple of hours. Usually it goes more than that. In a webinar like this, it usually for about 3 hours. I've had people ask me over and over and over again. Back years ago, I did an ag boot camp. And off of the agricultural markets, what I'm trying to do is introduce you to trading that you may not have done before that is an excellent alternative to trading the equities when the equities may not be best suited for you. I'm going to have a training camp for the ag markets. These are the things that I'm going to be covering. Treasure in the dirt. I'm going to show you some of the things that the treasures that you can dig out of trading in the ag markets. 5 essentials that if you expect to win, 5 essential things that you have to have. I'm going to show you building some wealth trades. I'm going to show you that 2 are better than 1 sometimes. I'm going to show you how to spread trade, how to set up spread trades. Home runs and singles. Sometimes you go for a home run, sometimes you just have to hit singles. And that's what we're doing here. Tools of the trade, things that I've learned in over 35 years of trading, and seasonal trades that have high percentage winning years. Some that, and I'll show you one in just a few minutes. Know how to hold, know when to hold, know how to hold, and know when to fold, and know what to risk. And basically, the last part of it is hire a coach. My son has a shooting coach. You go into any professional athlete, and most of them have a personal coach. If you're going to be a trading professional, why not have somebody that you can bump things off of? You don't be an island. Make things hard for yourself. Do things the right way. Get you a coach. Get you somebody that you can say, hey, does this work? And then go, no, you're crazy. I don't know why you're doing that. Now, one of the things that I want to show you is seasonal trades. This was back in 2000. This was 2 years ago. November soybean trade that I pulled out of a webinar that I did. And this was a $14,500 move. It had a 439% return off of what I put up on that $3,300 margin requirement. And off of this move, a $14,000 move, a seasonal move, and I want to share some of these seasonal moves with you. Now, let me ask you this. This is an important part of the webinar. Let's assume that you've got a $5,000 account and you're wanting to grow it. If I told you all right, you want to grow this, how are you going to grow it to a $100,000 account? I would love to know what size accounts you guys are dealing with. But one of the things that I'll do in the webinar, I'll be showing you how to build an account in a very simplistic, just methodical way. What amount have you allocated to trading futures? Based on the allocation of your investments, what's the projected rate of return for your investments? Based on what you've got invested in, how long will it take you to build to $100,000 in a $5,000 account? What would happen if you don't reach your goal? And most importantly, what will happen when you reach your goal? Not if, but when you reach your goal. Just some food for thought out there that I want you guys to think about. Now, I showed you some seasonal trades. Here's a seasonal trade spread of buying March corn, March 2017, selling March 17 Kansas City wheat. Look down here at this. The win rate is 87%. Over the last 15 years, it's won 13 times and lost twice. The average winning profit's been $1,700. The average net profit's been $1,349. Now, off of that, I'll show you guys how you can go in here and trade some of these things. And I'm quickly running out of time. And off of this, I'll show you in the webinar. I'll show you if you come in the live trading room. I'll be covering this. It's because this is part of the things that I do in the live trading. Now, this is what we've got coming up. If you'll go into, and I forgot to put it on here. It says /go. What is it? Hold on just a second, guys. Go over here and check and make sure on something. On the setup on this. Okay. Up here at the top, add, and let me put this in here, add GO at the end. TradeTheSystem.com/go, GO. And let me type it in here, and I'll send it to everyone. If I can get to it. I'll do it in just a minute. But this is what we're doing, October 27th, 6 to 8 o'clock. It's $97. Out of that, you get what? You'll get the Pirate Cove Trading Room. You'll get the Ag Boot Camp. You'll be able to come in for $97, and it will give you entrance into the trading room for the month, and also the Ag Boot Camp that we'll have. You can ask all the questions you want. We'll spend time. It's 100% money back guaranteed, as I got on here, and that is Pay Dirt Trading Ags for Profits. Now, there's a $7 membership if you go tradethesystem.com/trial, $7, a 30-day trial membership. You get the live trading room. You'll get the nightly video newsletter for the Elite Pro members. You'll get a weekly 1-hour coaching session for the Elite members. And also you'll have 24/7 access to all the past webinars that I've done. That's something in here I think that would be good. Now, let me ask you a question. You ask a question, you need to answer it. Are you willing to spend $97 for 2 to 3 hours to get in the next trade? And what might that next trade be? Well, it could be a big profit. It could be a big mover in soybeans. It could be a big mover in soybean oil. Or are you going to miss the next big move that could potentially make you 10 times the cost of the webinar in one trade? I showed you the trade that I put on that had a $14,000 move. I had a corn trade this year, 2 contracts of corn just a couple of months ago, and it was a $12,000 profit. Guys in the trading room will vouch for it. They watched it every day. I told them about it. I showed them the live trade that I had on, and $12,000 profit off of it. Now, again, and I forgot to put this in here. Let me get what I've got here. Where's my pen? At the end of this, can't believe I left this off, /go. Okay, that's how you go to it. TradeTheSystem.com /go, and that's where you'll go in to sign up for the webinar. And guys, we'd love to have you. Now, off of this, what's next? The pro members, again, you'll get the trading room, you'll get the video, you'll get the 1-hour coaching session each week for the Elite members, and the Elite Pro. And that's what I'm wanting you to do. That's why I call it Elite Pro. I want you guys to understand that you're professional traders. You'll get discounted indicator packages, 24/7 access, the red zone trade alerts that I'll be sending out, and also the Elite Pro membership member discounts that we've got for other webinars and things of that nature. Now, on the Ag Bootcamp, this is what we're going to be doing. Again, a /go. Trade, remember, don't forget that. Trade the system /go. Training camp for the ag markets, treasures in the dirt, the 5 essentials. And guys, I would love to sit there and spend more time with it. And I've got just, I think, 5 minutes left to go. And I'll be more than happy to take some questions and show you some live charts and things that I'm doing. And let me type in here at the bottom to give you guys the address. Send to all. Okay, everybody should have it in there. How can you let the profits run in today's market? It's pretty easy. You just have to manage the trade, and I'll show you how to do that. Now, I was going to tell you something about, someone asked about the indicators. What are they? Do they work on toss? Yes, they do. And what's discounted price? Mike, send me an email, pat@tradethesystem.com, and I'll answer all of that. Let me go in here, pull this up real quick, and I'll try to cover it as fast as I can. If I can get to it. Okay, we're up over here. The platform that you're seeing here is through Infinity. It's called Sierra Charts. Sierra Charts is a charting platform that I use. It costs me, I do more than 10 trades a month. It costs me $18 a month, guys. For trading futures, I think this is one, I don't get a kickback off of this, but make sure if you go to Infinity, ask for Patrick Zellbreyer. This is worth the price. It could cut your cost if you're using something where you're paying for your data, TradeStation, something of that nature. And TradeStation's tried to get me back. I went kicking and screaming away from TradeStation. Sierra Charts, Patrick Zellbreyer at Infinity Futures. He didn't know I was going to say anything about this, but if you come in and I'll show you some of the things that we've got. I've got indicators for Sierra Charts, TradeStation, and Thinkorswim. And guys, I'll be more than happy to help you any way I can with all of it. But this is a money saver right here. If you're paying $200 to $300 a month in data fees, okay, TOS for equities is great, and then Sierra Charts for futures is another really good charting system in here. Very good charting system. I'll show you how we do this, how I trade volume, some of the things that I look at in volume when I'm trading it, and give you ideas of trading, potential trading moves that we've got. Where I trade opening gaps in the market every day. Patrick, best broker, in Sierra, the best platform. Caesar, you're right about that. Can your trades be taken on options? Can your trades be taken on options? Absolutely. Manage the trading with trailing stocks. Yeah, that's one way you let runners run. And you know, now I do a lot of scalping trades where I've got, if I'm going in and I think all the market's going to give me is maybe 10 ticks, I go in there and take 10 ticks. But if I'm looking for more of a long-term setup, I'll take a longer-term play. I'll take the moves. I'll show you the three sisters that I've got in here also. And off of the three sisters, what we've got going on there and how to use that for to your advantage in there. And also my three amigos and some of the different things. I don't know if you've ever used point and figure charting. I'll touch on that in the webinar as we go along, and also more than likely touch on some of the new indicators that I've got coming out here. But you can see in here some of the opportunities this morning when we went down to the power bands and the move that we got right off of them here. This is where I gain an edge in here. This is one of my key indicators that I've got. I don't use a bunch of them, but this is one of my key ones that I've used for a number of years. You can see here how we got to this level and then begin to sell off of the YM. And that's some of the things that I'll show you as we go along. Now guys, let me remove this. Remember, trading for profits, what we're doing, all of that, the 30-day trial, you go to tradethesystem.com/what? Go/go. That got changed this morning. That's why it got left off. And remember, /trial for the $7 trial membership for 30-day period. Guys, I'm out of time. And Dan, I'll turn it back over to you.